Welcome to EPG Pathshala on the subject Social Medicine and Community Health. I am Professor Siddhi Mishra, working in the Department of Community Medicine, Institute of Medical Sciences, Banaras University, Varanasi. I shall be discussing the module Housing, which refers to the paper Environmental Health. This module has been prepared by a team comprising of myself as Principal Investigator, Professor B.M. Gupta, ex-professor of the Department Community Medicine, IMS, BHU, as paper coordinator, Dr. Milli Mishra from Department of Community Medicine, Barabanki. She has written the content, and this has been reviewed by Dr. J. Tandon, ex-professor and head, Department of Community Medicine, IMS, BHU, Varanasi. The learning objectives that has been set for this module refers to concept of housing, criteria for healthful housing, and housing standards, and last, what is the relationship between housing and health. If you look at the history of development of human being, in the past, people used to prepare their own shelter of different varieties, and housing standards have evolved over a period of time. Everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and of his family, including food, clothing, housing, and medical care. In fact, house provides not only shelter, but it takes into account other factors which protect person from ill health in terms of temperature, in terms of overcrowding, in terms of other things. This statement which I've just narrated, that everyone has the right of a standard of living adequate for health, this is a declaration from Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Concept of housing is based on taking into account various factors that influence health. Housing in modern concept includes not only the physical structure in terms of building, providing shelter, but also the immediate surroundings and the related community services and facilities. So housing has evolved over a period of time as a very complex and multidimensional aspect, and it takes into cognizance many related activities besides shelter that is conducive to optimum not only physical health but mental health, social health, and spiritual well-being also. It may be defined as all places in which a group of people reside and pursue their life goals. The size of settlements varies from a single family to millions of people. So concept of housing varies. Many times we have like hostels, many people do stay, but that is a temporary housing arrangement, a temporary arrangement. But in fact, housing is related to one's entire development in life, and people have a special affinity for their own home. It is often said that home is home, rest is non-home. So that's the importance of housing or home in one's life. The immediate surroundings of residential building are often referred to as neighborhood or micro-district, and health of the people of a living in a particular house is strongly influenced by immediate surroundings as well. WHO expert group in 1961 on public health aspects of housing prefers to use the term residential environment rather than the term housing. Residential environment is a broader concept that includes the structure of the house and other facilities within and outside the house, and also the immediate surroundings or micro-district of the house as well. Social goals of housing are many. most important thing is the protection. If you look at the hierarchy of needs, the basic needs, among the basic needs, food and shelter are the primary thing. And the house provides shelter. It provides a environment for family life. It access to community facilities so that a group of people can interact, and family participation in community life. So besides shelter, there are many other aspects where house becomes important. Shelter and other aspects of life like family life, community facilities, and participation in entire community initiatives. Economic stability provides also economic stability in the sense that if a person stays in rented houses, he is not mentally very secure, and also once a house is constructed, it passes from generation to generation. So it provides economic stability to the family and their next generation. The implementation of social goals in housing requires that the government should introduce social housing schemes, establish both minimum and maximum standards, create financial and fiscal institutions geared to helping low-income people obtain credit for building and improving their house. Government of India has taken several measures in this direction, and which have been discussed in the paper National Health Policies and Programs. So many times government also emphasizes that when a housing scheme is introduced, there should be a sense of belonging, and there should be not only, it should be just even their contributions from the family members also becomes very important. Many times we emphasize that some salary, part of the salary should be also taken into the housing, or some part of the income, so that it is not only a government pushed idea, it should be based on the concept of partnership from the community as well as the government. Now, having once discussed that what is the conceptual framework of housing? Housing, everybody needs a house, a shelter, but how a good housing does not provide only shelter, but it provides many other facilities in terms of prolonging the generation and generation, the family environment, and once government is also conscious that those who are without houses, for them some schemes have been should be initiated, and already it has been initiated, so that everybody has a shelter. Criteria for healthful housing. Healthful housing provides physical protection and shelter. So one health is physical protection and shelter, provides adequately for cooking, eating, washing, and excretory functions. So besides shelter, we should provide enough facilities for cooking, eating space, washing space, excretory functions, and also for recreational space for recreational work also. It is designed, constructed, maintained, and used in a manner such as to prevent the spread of communicable diseases within the house. So how should be designed in a manner that it does not spread many communicable diseases. Housing provides protection from hazards of exposure to noise and pollution also, because noise had very strong effect on human mental abilities, and also it causes fatigue. There may be also chances of deafness. Pollution is increasing globally, and if the housing standards are maintained in a proper way, then there will be initiatives are taken for reduction of effects of pollution, then housing standards, house becomes a better place to live. It is free from unsafe physical elements due to construction or maintenance and from toxic or harmful materials. Means the house where it is located, that has also a very important implication. Encourages personal and community development, promotes social relationships, reflects a regard for ecological principles, and finally promotes mental health. Certain housing standards have been worked out, and these are: number one, social and economic characteristics such as family income, family size and composition, standard of living, lifestyle, stage in life cycle. Educational and cultural factors are taken into account in housing standards while constructing housing standards. Because of cultural diversity and other factors such as climate and social traditions in India, standard of housing varies from within the country, and it has been observed that since these factors do vary from one country to another country or one region to another region, there is variance in this phenomena from country to country and from region to region. In short, there cannot be rigid uniform standards. Uniform standards has to be tailored according to the area-specific situations. Number one, site. Site should be elevated from the surroundings. Why? Because in rainy season, if it is not elevated from the surroundings or from the road, it is very likely that the water will go within the house. Should have an independent access to a street or adequate width. In fact, a house is considered as the best house where there is independent access for vehicles to reach to the particular house. And if a house is constructed in a narrow lanes, there are several problems, and therefore there should be independent access. In town planning, in rural areas, enough efforts must be made that each and every house should have access to a street of adequate width. Should be away from breeding places of mosquitoes and flies. Vector-borne densities or vector-borne diseases are a nuisance in those areas where there is water collections near houses. And if there is a water collection near houses, many types of mosquito breed, and there are also flies grow, and they cause many diseases in terms of malaria, in terms of dengue, in terms of filariasis, and so on. So the breeding places should be away from the houses. And many times it is found that if the solid waste disposal from the houses is of not proper order, it may lead to breeding places. Many times you have to see that the house should be away from nuisances such as dust, smoke, smell, excessive noise, and traffic. For healthful living, should be in a pleasant surrounding. Soil should be dry and safe for founding the structure and should be well drained. The subsoil water should be below 10 feet. Setback, it is the open space all around the house which allows proper ventilation and lighting. House, in fact, besides providing shelter, if the ventilation is adequate, then the airborne diseases are restricted, and if lighting is adequate, the reading and other activities can be go in a proper manner within the house. In rural areas, it is recommended that the built-up area should not exceed 1/3 of the total area, because in rural areas there are animals, cattle, and surroundings. So only 1/3 should be the built area and of the total area. However, in urban areas, there is a land scarcity and it is allowed up to 2/3 of the total area. The setback should be such that there is no obstruction of lighting and ventilation. The concept of setback is built so that every house enjoys optimum ventilation, particularly cross ventilation, and lighting is adequate. So that is the concept of setback. For example, if there is a 125 feet, the distance of 30 feet should be left on either side, and 65 in the middle it should be constructed. So there is a ample opportunity of air transmission within the house. Floor should be pakka and satisfy the following criteria. Should be impermeable so that easy to clean and dry. Must be smooth and free from cracks and crevices to prevent the breeding of insects and harbors of dust. Cracks and crevices are the habitat of sandflies which transmit cholera, and therefore house should be free from cracks and crevices. It should be damp proof. It has been observed that those houses where floor is damp, not damp proof, then the humidity is moisture content is very high. There is chance of transmission of mycobacterium tuberculosis and other diseases as well. The height of the plinth should be 2 to 3 feet, 0.6 to 1 meter. Wall reasonably strong, should have a low heat capacity, weather resistance, unsuitable for harbor of rats and vermin, not easily damaged. Smooth 9-inch brick with wall plastered smooth and colored cream or white. That is the ideal 9-inch brick wall, plastered smooth and colored cream or white. Nowadays, multi-story buildings are coming up, and sometimes it becomes difficult to keep these standards. And roof should not be less than 10 feet. The height of the roof should not be less than 10 feet, 3 meters, in absence of air conditioning for comfort. Should have a low heat transmittance coefficient. Rooms should not be less than 2, at least one for them can be closed for security reasons, for security purposes. The other may be open or one side if that side is a private courtyard. Number should be increased as per the family members increase. Floor area should be at least 120 square feet more than one person ideally, and at least 100 square feet for single person. There are compromises with this, but floor area per person should not be less than 50 square meter. Cubic space, at least 500 cubic feet per capita, preferably 1000 cubic feet. So ideal is, for height, if you take the height as 10 feet, then either 50 square feet as the floor area per capita, or ideally 100 square cubic feet per person should be available. Windows, every living room should be provided with at least 2 windows, and one of them should open directly onto the open space. And the windows should be placed at a height of more than 3 feet, 1 meter above the ground in the living rooms. Windows area should be 1/5 of the floor area. Doors and windows combined should have 2/5 of the floor area. So these are the standards that have been laid down, and one should take into consideration, because windows, if there is a cross windows are placed at a cross, then chances of cross ventilation will be there, and air transmission from outside to inside will be much better. Kitchen must have every house must have a separate kitchen. Must be protected against dust and smoke, adequately lighted, provided with water supply, provided with a sink for washing utensils, and fitted arrangements for proper drainage. Now, if you look at the data of Census of India 2011, then a house can be classified into several ways depending on the availability of kitchen. Separately available within the house, separately not available within the house, cooking in the open space, and no cooking. Separately available within the house, about 137.6 million people or million households have, there is availability of kitchen within the house separately. In 77.8 million, separately not available within the house, kitchen is not available within the house, and 30.5 million are cooking in the open space, and in 0.8 million cases, there is no practice of cooking. The figures vary from rural to urban area. The point, though rural areas predominantly, India is predominantly rural area, but 76.2 million people and households and 61.4 million households have separately available kitchen within the house. The separately not available kitchen within the house is prevailed in 63.6 million rural and 14.2 million urban households. Now, closed drainage and open drainage situation within the house, if you look at this, the total closed drainage is available in 44.7% households, 44.7 million households only have closed drainage, 81.4 million have open drainage, and no drainage is present in 120.5 million households. The majority of the people in rural area, that is living in 106.1 million households, are without drainage, and 14.4 million households in urban areas are without drainage, as per Census of Government of India 2011. Now, lighting, another important factor is the lighting. The daylight factor should not exceed 1% over half of the floor area. Garbage and refuse should be removed from the dwellings at least daily and disposed of in a sanitary manner. Many attempts have been done. Still, we find many heaps of garbage placed at various places in India. If you look at the type of latrine present in households, 89.9 million households have a water closet system, 23.3 million have pit latrine, and 131 million households are without latrine. This was as per Census of India 2011. The situations were particularly much worse in rural areas than in urban areas. 116.3 million households in rural area and 14.7 million households in urban areas were without latrine. A number of measures have been initiated, and in the total sanitary campaign and the recent drive by Government of India, that majority of the open field defecation has to be curbed. Sanitary privy is a must for every household belonging exclusively to it and readily accessible. And the data of Census 2011 revealed that there is much to be done, and we are proceeding at a faster speed in this direction. As far as source of drinking water is concerned, tap is the drinking source in 107.4 million households. Hand pump and tube wells in 103.5 million households, whereas tank, pond, river, lake constitute as the source of drinking water, in 4.7 million households, and 3.6 million households depend on other sources as well. Water supply, house should have a safe and adequate water supply available at all the times. Water supply has been a major problem. In many places there is a dearth of supplying safe drinking water to the entire population, and they adopt intermittent water supply systems. Continuous water supply is not available. and intermittent supply system also in summer times may break, and there may be serious scarcity of water. That is the reason why intermittent supply has been done. But intermittent supply, many times the pipes become empty, there is a negative pressure, and it may suck some impurities, and there may be outbreak of diseases. Wastage of water supplies from the public system should be minimized, and people should be also made aware that how to prepare, how to store water properly, because many times it has been seen that even the water supplied at the source is all right, but it gets contaminated on the way. Bathing and washing. House should have facility for bathing and washing separately, belonging exclusively to it and providing proper privacy. Bathrooms availability, enclosure without roof, no bathroom situation. If you look at it in India, 103.7 million households have bathroom separately, 40.9 million have enclosure without roof for bathing, and 40.4 million households have no bathroom. The situation is even worse in rural areas, as revealed by the fact that 92.3 million households in rural areas are without bathroom, and whereas corresponding figure in urban areas is 10.3 million. It means that 10.3 million households in urban areas have no bathroom. Now, rural housing, a typical scene you can see that made of, there should be at least 2 living rooms. The attempt should be made that even in the rural areas there should be ample veranda space may be provided. The build-up area should not exceed 1/3 of the total area, as I said earlier. There should be a separate kitchen with a paved sink or platform for washing utensils. The house must be provided with a sanitary lighting. The window area should be at least 10% of the floor area. There should be sanitary well or tube well within a quarter of ample from the house. It is insanity to keep cattle and livestock in the dwelling house. Cattle sheds should be at least 25 feet away from the dwelling houses. The cattle should be open on all sides. An area 8 feet into 4 feet is sufficient for each head of the cattle. There should be adequate arrangement for disposal of wastewater, refuse and garbage. Housing and health, they are interlinked. Poor housing is with the following health conditions: respiratory infection, respiratory infections, tuberculosis, influenza, pneumonia, and other infections, acute respiratory infections, skin infections, rat infestation, arthropods, accident, morbidity and mortality may be high in poor housing conditions, and there is immense psychological effect of good housing. Housing and health, improved water and sanitation reduces diarrhea-related deaths in young children. Better flooring reduces parasitic infestations, diarrhea, anemia, and improves cognitive development. Better ventilation means fewer eye and lung problems and smoke-related diseases. Improves with reduced rates of malaria, respiratory infections, gastrointestinal diseases, and better roofing reduces dampness, which means less of respiratory infections, including tuberculosis. Home injuries. Unintentional home injuries are a serious public health problem. In the years 2002-2004, in some countries, some injuries were the leading cause of injury death in children up to under the age of 5 years. Home injuries can be reduced through adequate building design. Indoor air quality, this has been identified as a key concern in many countries and depends on the ability of building, the materials, the cooking and heating technologies, and user behavior. And particularly the cow dung preparations and wood fires has been important cause of indoor air quality compromise, and that has led to chronic obstructive lung disease in India. Government of India is also taking care of this by providing LPG cylinders in these areas. Indoor air quality therefore depends upon biological, mold and moisture, chemical and physical factors. Hazards in the house includes cleaning materials, asbestos and construction materials, and deteriorating lead-based paints. Studies have been conducted that doses burden due to indoor air pollution as a result of the disease burden due to outdoor air pollution and total diffuse conditions. It is seen that the disease burden due to indoor pollution is high in India, Sub-Saharan Africa, and China, Asia Pacific countries, and many Middle and East countries. It is though it is lower variety, less in Latin America, and it is almost practically non-existent in industrialized countries. Now, health outcomes: acute lower respiratory infection in children, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease in adults, lung cancer, particularly coal-related, tuberculosis, cataract, upper airway cancers, asthma, low birth weight, perinatal mortality, otitis media, cardiovascular diseases. And there are many evidence in this regard which can be, there are a number of several studies that suggest that indoor air pollution can be a cause of concern. Overcrowding, which refers to a situation in which more people and living within a single dwelling, then there is a space for so that movement is restricted, privacy secluded, hygiene impossible, rest and sleep difficult. Overcrowding is a health problem in human dwellings. It may promote the spread of respiratory infections such as TB, influenza, or diphtheria. The extent of overcrowding is defined by the World Health Organization as follows. The room standard is contravened when the number of persons sleeping in a dwelling and the number of rooms available as sleeping accommodation is such that two persons of the opposite sexes who are not living together as husband and wife must sleep in the same room. This is also called social overcrowding. For this purpose, children under the age of 10 shall be left out of the account, and a room is available as sleeping accommodation if it is of type of normally used in the locality either as a bedroom or in the living room. The WHO accepted standards for floor space are as follows. Overcrowding, physical overcrowding, 11 or more per area in square meter, 11 or more, 2 persons, 9 to 10 square meter, 1.5 person, 7 to 9, 1 person, 5 to 7, 0.5 person, under 5, nil. So this is the criteria, and persons belonging from 1 to 10 years are counted as 0.5 as far as the housing coefficient is concerned. A baby under 12 months is not counted, and children between 1 to 10 years are counted as half a unit. Overcrowding is considered to exist if two persons who are 9 years of age, not husband and wife of opposite sex, are obliged to sleep in the same room, and this is referred to social overcrowding. Now, a household having number of dwelling rooms, no exclusive room is 9.6 per million, one room 91.49 million as per census 2011, two rooms 78.12 million, three rooms 35.8 million, and four rooms and above 31.6 million. Public policy and housing site and construction assistance. Indira Awas Yojana introduced in the central sector in 1985-86 as a part of the Rural Land-Based Employment Guarantee Scheme. One room, one kitchen attached with latrine, bathroom and smoke flex. Thank you very much for visiting EPG Barcelona.